Hello everyone, I'm Claire from Lion Learners East Anglia, and here on my shoulder, you can come and see everyone, is the lovely Charmander, and he is a blue-tongued skink, which is a type of lizard, which is a type of reptile. I'm going to put him on the floor so you can see him moving. So today's session is a special end of the Easter holidays session. I know everything's a bit different at the moment, but we are still starting our home learning again next week, so we thought we'd finish this week with a bang. So this session is a dinosaur themed reptile session, and it's been inspired by a session I was supposed to be doing at a school, but obviously with everything going on I wasn't able to, so I thought I'd do a mini version of it for you guys on Animal Cam today, because dinosaurs are reptiles, aren't they? Well, the simple answer is yes, but it's not quite as easy as that. The period that dinosaurs live is known as the Mesozoic era, and that takes into account the Triassic period, the Jurassic period, and the Cretaceous, and it's known as the age of the reptile. And dinosaur itself means terrible lizard, so obviously they're reptiles. Well, it's to do with science, and with most things to do with science, it's a little bit more complex than that. To be a reptile, an animal has to have certain characteristics. Let us take a look at the lovely Charmander here, and you will see all over his body, he is covered in beautiful scales. I wonder if you can get a closer look. There you go. He's got these beautiful scales covering his body, and these have a really important job. They're not the same as our skin. They're much tougher. They're made of a protein called keratin that are much tougher than our normal skin, and he needs that. Charmander here lives in the rainforest of Indonesia. He's an Indonesian blue-tongued skink, and you will see he's got very short legs. He's very close to the ground. His body trails along. He will be going through thickets. He'll be going through lots and lots of scratchy different plants. He needs a skin that's tough enough not to get ripped and scratched as he moves along. So his skin provides a lot of protection. Scales also can do some really other clever things. They can help reptiles retain moisture. So if you had a lizard living somewhere where it was really hot and dry, something like a bearded dragon, for instance, in Australia, where they don't get that much water, it's very arid, dry conditions, their scales help them keep moisture in their body, which is really helpful if you haven't got a drink of water for a while. So they're very clever. And dinosaurs also had scales, which acted in a very similar way for protection and to keep them safe. So there's a big tick for both of them being reptiles. Another thing that makes an animal a reptile is they lay eggs. And Charmander here, when he was born, came out of an egg. And I'm sure you guys have watched things on telly where you have seen eggs cracking and baby dinosaurs coming out, because dinosaurs too lay eggs. So far, so good. But the next step that makes something a reptile is where they differ. Reptiles, like Charmander here, are cold-blooded. The scientific term is ectothermic. And what that means is he can't regulate his own body temperature. He needs to get his heat from somewhere else. So can you hear that noise in the background? That's our tortoise going mad. He needs to get his body temperature from somewhere else. He needs to get his heat from somewhere else. So he will go in the sun or under a heat lamp, and that will make him nice and warm. Now, scientists now think that dinosaurs were actually warm-blooded or endothermic, which is the same as us as mammals. We're warm-blooded. Our temperature stays pretty much constant, whatever the weather is outside, whether it's summer or winter. Our temperature is around about a solid 37 degrees Celsius. So dinosaurs, they think, were also warm-blooded. So dinosaurs don't fall completely into the category of a reptile, but it's close enough that most scientists do consider them to be reptiles. Hello, Yobi. You're going to go for a little walk. Right, we are going to see if Charmander would like something to eat. Over here, we have our herbivore section. We have our Triceratops, we have some sauropods over there. We do have some Spinosauruses. They're not herbivores in the mix as well, but they've gone to the waterhole to have a drink. So we are going to see if Charmander likes some banana. Charmander is not a herbivore. He's what we call an omnivore. So a herbivore is an animal that just eats plants. An omnivore is an animal that eats plants and meat. And a carnivore, over here we've got our T-Rexes, is an animal that eats meat. And dinosaurs were pretty much split into herbivores and carnivores. They didn't have that many omnivores at the time. You had a few, like an oviraptor, but most of them were either herbivores or carnivores. You did, though, with the herbivores, especially the tall sauropods, when they'd be eating lots and lots of leaves at the same time, they would accidentally eat a lot of bugs at the same time. So they were accidental omnivores. So as an omnivore, Charmander here, he's not looking very hungry, is he? Has to hunt his own food, which are bugs, and he has to find plants to eat. But as a medium-sized lizard, he will also get preyed on by other animals that like to eat him. Things like dogs or birds would also come to eat him. Oh, let me move that and then you can see him better. So Charmander is a solitary creature. He's a lone hunter is what we'd call. Most lizards today are lone hunters, whereas dinosaurs are very much different. They hunted in packs. Even the T-Rexes are now thought to have hunted in packs, big groups of them going out together. Not many reptiles hunt in packs these days, but crocodiles do, which is funny because crocodiles are probably the closest relative to dinosaurs that we have living at the moment. So there you go. So protecting yourself, as we said, he gets preyed upon as well, poor Charmander. So he's got a very special way of protecting himself. I don't know if you've noticed his tongue. Let's see if he'll do a tongue out for you. There you go, and cute, good boy. He has got this beautiful blue tongue. He's not much of a fighter as our Charmander. He's got far too short, stubby legs. He's not much of a runner. What he would do to protect himself, if he was scared, he would rear back, he would stick out his tongue quite aggressively, and he would hope that the bright blue colour would startle other animals into running away and leaving him alone. Now, dinosaurs also used colour. Our Triceratops over here, their big plates on the back, and same as the Protoceratops, and they would change colour. The heat would go through them and they would change colour, which no one knows exactly why that did that. It could have been as a way of attracting a female, a way of kind of putting off another Triceratops coming close to them during breeding season. So they used their colour, or it could be a way of startling animals. Hello you, where are you going? Oh, come over here. Here we go. You've also got a newly found dinosaur called, I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, a Psittacosaurus, which changed colour like a chameleon to camouflage. So colour was also used quite a lot by dinosaurs. Are you going up? Right, we are going to go and say goodbye now to the lovely Charmander, and we're going to meet another reptile who is dying to come and meet you. Bye-bye, Charmander. Let's put you back in your travel tank for a minute, sweetheart. Oh, good boy. Right, this fella has been dying to come and meet you. Here he comes. This is the lovely Bolt. And Bolt is a tortoise. And he is a herbivore. We'll put him some food there to see if he wants something to eat. Do you want something to eat, darling? Look at that. So he is an herbivore, and tortoises and turtles in particular have been around for a long, long time. There were turtles around with the dinosaurs, and tortoises came not much later than the dinosaurs. So they've been around a very long time. They were just much, much bigger at the time. I always think of tortoises as very much like an armoured dinosaur like an Ankylosaurus here. They've got this beautiful shell on their back which acts as a protection for them. This shell is wonderful. It protects them from predators. They can sleep inside it. It gives them protection from rain. It gives them shade. It does a lot of things for them. You will notice poor Bolt is called Bolt not because he's very fast. He's called Bolt because he's got some bolts in his shell. And the reason he's got some bolts on his shell, he's got a very sad story. Poor Bolt is a rescue animal. Most of my animals are rescued or rehomed. And he was actually found in a park with his shell all smashed, which is very sad. We're not quite sure what happened to him. He was found after whatever happened had happened. And he was taken to South Angle Farm, which is our head office, and they found a very clever vet who managed to bolt him back together. You will notice he's missing a little bit of shell here on the back. This is called the frill. It's like the end of your fingernail. It doesn't hurt you not having that, and the vet couldn't save it, but this bit here would have been like an open wound, so he needed it fixed. But even so his shell is cracked, it still saved his life. Whatever did happen to him, and it could have been a bird of prey grabbing him and dropping from the sky, or a dog getting him, or a bike going over him, whatever did happen to him, his shell probably saved his life and gave him the protection he needed. Here you go. Do you want some of this? Do you want some? Oh, here we go. So you can have some. Yummy. Yummy. So while we're talking about this, well, we mentioned earlier about the size of tortoises before were much bigger. That's another huge difference between reptiles today and reptiles of the past. Dinosaurs were huge, absolutely gigantic. The biggest reptile we have on Earth now is the saltwater crocodile, and that is about 6 meters long and weighs up to 1,000 kilos, which is pretty hefty. But compare it to the largest carnivore of the dinosaur period, which is the Spinosaurus. That was 16 to 18 meters long. It was huge. A T-Rex was about 12 to 13 meters long, and the sauropods, the long necks, like, let's show you a sauropod, like these guys, were absolutely massive. Argentinosaurus was about 40 meters long, which is the size of 3 buses, and he weighed a whopping 96,000 kilos, which is huge. Right, we cannot do a dinosaur session without meeting a carnivore. So while Bolt sits there, I'm going to hold this one. So while Bolt sits there and eats, let's meet a carnivore. Now, when we think of carnivores, we always think of the apex predators, the big ones like the T-Rexes or the lions. But this guy is a small carnivore. Here he is. He is a leopard gecko. And he would live in the rocky areas of, his name is Stig, he'd live in the rocky areas of Pakistan and Afghanistan and India, hiding under rocks and coming out at night to hunt bugs. And he only eats meat, he's a bug eater. Because he's little, he's definitely not top of his food chain, and other bigger predators would like to eat him. A big one for him are birds of prey. Much as we have in the past, we did have a pterodon swooping down to grab an animal. He has to keep an eye out for birds of prey that might want to eat him. So he looks around off on the ground for predators and up in the sky. Here he goes. You will see he's got this beautiful fat tail. Most lizards can store fat in their tails, and I think dinosaurs used to be able to do that as well. As a gecko, he can do a really clever trick, and if something was trying to eat him, he would wave his tail about. The animal would grab him by the tail. He can drop his tail and run off to live another day, and then regrow the tail, which is very clever. Isn't it, Stig? Right. I think we've gone over time, so I'm going to leave it there. Before I go, I would like to say a big hello to James, William and Jack, who are watching us all the way from Belgium. So hello to you. We hope you enjoyed today's special session, and we'll be back on Monday at 2 o'clock for another Animal Cam. See you then. Bye.